jump sideways. This was beautifully presented in the Avatar movie that you wrote.
Yes, absolutely right. See, I think I'm not saying what James Cameron meant or symbolized by that movie. I don't know. I can tell you what it symbolized to me. And actually, that's a good point, because it relates to where I'm going with this. What that manifestation of Golden Age expanded reality is within this time loop, which is not really a loop, we may get to that as we go along, is information. An expanded level of information within the construct of this reality, which we decode through into holographic experience, and it's a very different holographic experience to the one we've been having and the one we're having now, because the information construct is very different to the one we're decoding now. What I am saying in the book is something happened in this reality to create what I call a schism. This schism was a distortion within the information construct. And that distortion changed everything. One of the things it did, because I keep coming back to this, I think it's so important. If we keep thinking physical, and physical is what it seems to be, physical, then we're going to lose the plot, because it's not like that. This is a holographic, illusory, apparently three-dimensional reality, but it's not solid. We decode it like that, but it's not actually solid. It's the information construct which is decoded through into this. And so if you take, again, not even the analogy, the principle of holograms, you have got on a holographic print, you've got information in waveform. If you look at a holographic print, it looks pretty much like a fingerprint. That's no accident either. And then they fire the laser at the holographic waveform information, and manifesting from that is this apparently three-dimensional holographic figure, whatever's been photographed, whatever information is on the print. And so at the same time, you have got the information construct, the waveform, and you've got the manifestation, the holographic manifestation from the waveform, which is the image, person, box, apple, whatever you photographed. So when scientists say, how can something exist as waveform and particle form at the same time? It's because they do. When you're looking at a holographic figure, a holographic illusory three-dimensional figure, the information construct from which that is manifest, it doesn't disappear and it just stands there alone. They stand there together. They're different forms of the same thing. One is the information, one is the decoded information. So what I'm saying with this, in terms of the sequence that I'm talking about, is when this information construct in this, let's call it a golden age, was distorted, then that distortion had to manifest through into the decoded holographic world. And one of the ways that it did so was massive, enormous, catastrophic geological events. And these are recorded in ancient accounts and legends all over the world. They talk about great volcanic, earthquake, catastrophes. They talk about the earth turning over and what have you, and they're consistent all around the world in the way that they do this and tell these stories. And then you've got people who've researched from a scientific point of view, a geological, biological level, in more modern times, and they found that these ancient stories are mirrored in the biological and geological record. So what happened when this distortion in the energetic information waveform foundation construct happened? It was manifested through into holographic reality as, well, I mean, the biblical version of it is the Great Flood, but I think there have been many of these things, not just one, but certainly catastrophic ones. The other thing I'm saying it did is that it created schisms, distortions in the human personality, because that harmony, that connection, that everything in harmony and connection with everything else, brilliantly symbolized, as you say, by the blue people in the Avatar movie, that distortion brought an end to that. It brought an end to the harmony of the planet itself through the geological etc. catastrophes, but it fractured human personalities. That harmony became fractured. And then we went into all these different emotional states and distortions, again, distortion here, that we see, all the emotional distortions, the fear, which is the distortion, and other low vibrational emotional states, worry, fear, and frustration, anger, hatred, conflict, all this started to manifest. And we're now in the period, I would suggest, where that distortion is being healed by these truth vibrations, by this energetic change. Now, this is fundamentally important to the control system, because the control system, in all its forms, is a holographic manifestation of the distortion. If the distortion's not there, the control system cannot manifest, because within a harmonious, balanced information construct, things like control over, hunger, famine, war, hatred, torture, Satanist rituals, pedophilia, all this stuff cannot manifest. These are all manifestations of the distortion. And as this distortion is healed, and what's happening, Bill, I would suggest, I keep saying I suggest, I'm not telling people what to believe, I'm just saying what I feel. People who are waking up and going, why didn't I see it before? They're the ones who are opening their minds, and through that vibrating faster, because this suppression of vibrational state, the closed mind, the density, breaks up when you open your mind to other possibilities. They're the ones tuning to the information construct that's coming in, the truth vibrations as I call them, and the ones who are still in the control system and still supportive of it, they're the ones that are still closed-minded and are still at this moment attached to this old, dense, low vibrational epoch of experience. And so, like I've said earlier, as this distortion is healed, its manifestation must fall, because its information construct is being deleted from the system. And so what we're seeing is not, and it may sound strange, but if you follow it through, I don't think it is. We are now seeing the control system at its peak of imposition. It seems to be moving faster and faster, more Orwellian laws and all the rest of it. More and more control. They want the microchips in people. They're moving along that road, that agenda. We're having our children, adults too, but particularly our children, targeted with electrochemical distortions in terms of the chemical additives to food and drink, and the mobile phone, the microwave, electromagnetic soup from all this electromagnetic technology. And this is all being thrown at us at this time. I would suggest, controversially maybe, not for the control system to get more power, but to defend the power it's already had from these truth vibrations. No longer can the old way of controlling people, where people just stay asleep, they don't have to do too much. They don't have to do too much at this point. They've got control of the resources, they've got control of this, control of that, and quietly they can just feed off humanity energetically, resource-wise and everything, have humanity go along being their slaves without realizing it, which is the greatest form of slavery, of course, being a slave and not realizing it. But because of these truth vibrations, and because they can see down what we call the timeline, down the time loop as we might perceive it, they could see some of this coming. And so they've